I'll walk into a place, predominantly white people, and the first thing someone's like, yo, 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 yo! And I'm just like, has hello gone by the wayside?
How's it going, guys? My name's Ted Willis, and this is my friend Warren. I just got back from traveling for several months all around the world, and one of my favorite parts of my trip was hanging out with people that were totally different from me and getting to learn from them. So I'm starting a new series. Essentially, I'm gonna be sitting down with friends of mine and new friends that I'm making that just come from different walks of life. So today I figured what better way to start than hanging out with someone who's not white.
I'm not white. That's correct.
And I'm very white. There's some relevant topics in our nation today that I figured it could be a good conversation. So to start us off, I want to define a term that I feel like not many people are super familiar with, and it's white privilege. And just like really broad picture of like what is white privilege in the United States. Historically, it's rooted in how the country was founded. White Europeans came over and systematically wiped out the Native Americans living here and imported Black Africans as slaves. And there are repercussions from that ever since. And it's not like a term that's supposed to make people feel guilty. Most people will recognize, yes, I have not owned slaves. I did not kill, rape, or pillage any Native American villages, yet I do benefit from those things in a very systematic way. What can we do about that?
Yeah, I think you really hit it on the nail. I mean, privilege is something that's brought up, and whether we look at the school system, whether we look at how funding goes to neighborhoods, whether we look at incarceration rates, that this privilege it exists.
Yeah.
And it definitely benefits a certain segment of the population and favors a certain segment over the population over another. That shouldn't put you in a position as a white person to be negative or to be to feel sorry or guilty necessarily, but it's something you need to acknowledge and fight against because it truly is unfair and unjust. I originally came from the Bronx, New York. Most of my experience growing up was in a very closed off Caribbean community. That's kind of my background, so I'm Afro-Caribbean. Over there things were just so different in so many ways. I can think of, there's just a greater even sense of police contact. That's something people don't even consider, that it's easy to get caught up in the web there, and I'm really thankful that it wasn't necessarily my story, but I saw many friends and neighbors end up getting caught up in that criminal justice system just because the patrols, I think in some ways, presuppose that the population is criminal and create more contact. But yeah, my experience, honestly, I did not really have a friendship with even a white person until I was in college.
Wow. And what are some other perspectives of white privilege that you have from being a Black man?
Yeah, as I've gone through college, I kind of I transitioned into a job, right? Working in the workforce. It's just simple things, because when you work somewhere, your knowledge goes into a big deal of it, but a big part of it is who you know, your relationships you're building, right? If you come in and you're kind of just like that outsider, just because people may have some misconceptions of your race based on what they see on television or media, whatever it may be, it's kind of like you're starting kind of behind, man. You're starting with with some chips to have to overcome, and so a lot of more obstacles to overcome that maybe, let's say, someone who's part of the dominant culture will not have to face. I maybe have never faced, except probably in one occasion, where I faced maybe blatant aggressive racism, but it's always been those micro-aggressional things that are said, just not feeling like a part, right? Because of the differences that I may have brought with me from a different culture.
Yeah, and that's like kind of something that I've grown to understand about what privilege looks like in the United States, and not just white privilege specifically, but kind of privilege in general, is that it's not necessarily overt or intentional.
Right.
It has to be overt and intentional to move away from it as a society and shift the culture.
We're not in the days where people are running around with white hoods on anymore. And you know
Well,
what I mean?
for
Like
the most part.
for the most part, I mean, actually recent events may say a little different, but for the most part, like that has been seen as something that is just not tolerable. It's unacceptable. Nobody wants to identify it. And, you know, that's been pretty much gone away with. But, you know, there are little benefits and like things that happen every day where, like I said, it may be that job promotion. It may be that mortgage loan that goes through, you know, that whatever those everyday transactions that happen that people benefit because of their race, those are the, you know, that's where racism and kind of a privilege presents itself nowadays.
How can we come along our black friends or brown friends and support in a way that's not like, I guess just leave it at that. Like how can we best support and be a good friend?
You know what? If I'm being completely honest, I have seen a greater sense of like people acknowledging their privilege and wanting to, you know, address it. But just like, you know, you get there and you're like, what do I do now? Do I just go find a black person and, you know, try to become their best friend? And like, you know, that's awkward. Like it can be very awkward and forced. And, you know, as earnest as you may be, like that also puts us in an uncomfortable position because it still makes us feel like an outsider if we're treated that way. Like, I just want to get to know you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like you're like the newest, I don't know, like shiny toy or something. Like it's weird. Let me just give you a straight example. Like,
all right,
you know, I walk into a place, predominantly white people, and the first thing someone's like, yo, 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 and I'm just like, why does it have to be yo, 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 yo? That like, I think in that sense, those people weren't trying to be offensive or anything, but it's just like, why is it when the one black dude walks in the room, it's yo, 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 it's not like just hello, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like little things like that, like just being a natural, good friend, man. Like, I think watching your words, not in the sense like you need to walk on eggshells, but like be conscious that words do have power.
Whenever I might find myself in a position of influence, how ought I use that to shift this issue we're talking about?
Yeah, so I think it's giving everyone a fair chance, right? Judging people, like, you know, not to sound cheesy, but like, you know, Martin Luther King, you know, doesn't feel about the content of their character. Like, those are just terms, you know, that are old, but they're timeless. Also, not seeing your culture as the norm. You know, there is beauty in the difference of perspectives.
Is there a major misconception that you keep hearing that kind of that pops up for you, especially coming from white dominant culture?
One thing I'll point out, I guess, is, you know, you hear Black Lives Matter, right? And, you know, that's one term that seems to be so divisive. And it seems that people think that black people or brown people want to take away something necessarily from white people or take away the country or like, you know, and I think that's just not the right attitude. You know, when the words are said that Black Lives Matter, you know, they're highlighting a specific issue that, you know, that's going on and that, you know, it presents itself. Yeah, I've been pulled over sometimes and have felt the tension that like these can be my final moments on earth, man. And why should I feel that way? Like, I don't have, you know, it's not anti-police, it's not anti-government. Like, the police are needed. There's this sentiment that there's like a feeling of black and brown people that they're against America, but no, they just want an America. We just want America that includes all. That's inclusive of all.
But Warren and I know each other because we go to church together.
Yeah.
And so just as Christians, Christianity was really a part of colonizing this nation and used as a reason to justify a lot of abuse that happened. And so how ought we as Christians and even like dominantly white churches in America respond to this sort of stuff?
As Christians, we're supposed to be not looking for what's comfortable, not looking for those around us who are going to look the same, affirm us, adhere to the same cultural norms as us. You know, we should be striving to get to know those people who may be on the margins, who may, you know, look different than us. So I think whether you're in a predominantly white church, we should be pressing for true diversity. And that doesn't mean having black faces on stage, you know, just so it looks like diversity. It means giving people of color like a real part in the service and allowing them the space to, you know, feel free to worship God within their cultural context as well.
Yeah.
The way things are, I think that's like social media. We think we're listening, but a lot of times it's either we're in an echo chamber or we're just shouting things out. I think we need to get back to really having conversations and like getting into relationship. And within our Christian context, that's key. I mean, that's what like Jesus calls us to do, is to be in relationship with Him and with others. So
yeah. And even outside of that,
Yeah.
I think like listening
Yeah,
is
man.
the best way
Indeed.
to keep conversations constructive.
Indeed.
Like, I learned a lot just from this sit-down conversation here, and I just hope that maybe it can inspire some of you guys to have difficult, maybe awkward conversations with people in your life that are different from you, or maybe have a different perspective politically than you. And please, if you have any questions or comments, put them below, and I'd really like to continue the conversation there.
Yeah.
I'm going to link to his podcast, and he's got some sweet music that you can check out on his YouTube channel.
Artificial Christian is the name, so if you want to hear some good, cool music, just drop on in.
And don't forget to subscribe.